Hello and welcome, my dear friend. If you're here right now, it isn't random. Heaven made sure this message finds you, because tonight matters. You are standing at the doorway of something unseen, and God is closer than you realize. There is a reason sleep has always been sacred. When your body finally releases its grip on the day, when your mind can no longer spin its wheels, your spirit is still awake. That is where God steps in. Not with noise, not with chaos, but in the stillness of night when you are most unguarded. You've felt it before. Nights when a dream clung to you so strongly you couldn't shake it. Times when you woke up with words in your heart you didn't fall asleep with. Moments when peace settled over you like a blanket, even if you went to bed in pieces. That wasn't coincidence, that was visitation. And I need you to hear this. What's coming tonight is not the same as before. There are seasons where God watches, seasons where He protects, and seasons where He whispers. But then there are appointed moments, rare moments, where heaven draws so close the boundary between the visible and invisible feels paper thin. You are in one of those moments now. You've been asking for clarity. You've been aching for confirmation. You've been straining to hear through the noise of the world. And because God knows how heavy the days have been, He is choosing the night to deliver what you've been waiting for. Dreams are not just pictures in your mind. They are languages of the Spirit. They are maps, warnings, and reminders that the unseen is just as real as the seen. That is why the enemy attacks sleep so viciously, with nightmares, with restlessness, with racing thoughts, because he knows what God plants in the quiet can change the course of your life. Think about it. How many times have you tossed and turned, unable to rest, and called it stress? What if it was resistance? What if the reason you couldn't sleep was because heaven was trying to hand you something and darkness wanted to distract you before you could receive it? Yet something in the atmosphere shifts tonight. This night your rest is going to carry revelation. Some of you will dream things that confirm what your spirit has already been whispering. Some of you will feel presence in your room so undeniable you'll know you weren't alone. Some of you will wake up lighter, as if burdens dissolved in the night. This is how God works with those He loves. He doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He meets you where you are, in your exhaustion, in your questions, in your vulnerability. And sometimes the most tender act of love is when He steps into your rest, so you don't have to strive. And I know you've been weary, the kind of weary no nap can fix. You've carried questions you didn't know how to form into prayers. You've carried loneliness, even in crowded rooms. You've carried hope in one hand and doubt in the other, not knowing which would win. That's why tonight matters, because God doesn't just see your fight. He sees the part of you that's been longing for peace so deep it reaches even your sleep. This is not about performance. This is not about perfection. This is about intimacy. God is not coming tonight to evaluate you. He is coming to embrace you, to speak to you in a way your busy mind couldn't block, to refill what the day drained. Have you noticed how your body has been more tired than usual? How your eyes feel heavy earlier, as if something is pulling you into rest? Pay attention. That tug is not laziness, it is preparation. Heaven is setting the stage for encounter, and when it happens, don't rush to explain it away. Don't convince yourself it was just a dream or just a feeling. The very fact you are here listening right now is proof that God is already aligning you to recognize what He's about to do. So as you step into the night, do so with expectation. Lay down knowing the same one who breathed stars into being is leaning close enough to breathe peace into you. This night isn't ordinary, it's appointed. And when you wake, something in you will know you weren't alone. You may not always realize it, but sleep is one of the holiest spaces you enter each day. When the world has quieted down and the masks fall away, when no one is asking you for anything and your body finally surrenders, your spirit stands uncovered before heaven. That's why what happens in the night matters so much. It's where God writes on the slate of your soul without distraction. Think back to the dreams that lingered, the ones that didn't fade with the morning light. Maybe it was an image you couldn't shake, a phrase that repeated itself in your chest, or a face you didn't expect to see again. Those weren't meaningless, they were seeds, and some of them are still growing in you right now, even if you can't yet see the fruit. You've wondered why your sleep has often been restless, why nightmares came when you were young, why you sometimes wake up with the feeling of having carried battles through the night. It's because your spirit is sensitive. The same way you pick up on people's energy in the day, your inner radar doesn't turn off when you close your eyes. You feel more, you see more, and sometimes you fight more. But here's the truth that changes everything. You're not fighting alone. God never leaves you vulnerable in the night. What feels like an attack is often permission for you to see what He's already shielding you from. And what feels like confusion is often a message wrapped in symbols, waiting for you to recognize its shape. Think about it. Some of the greatest moments in history happened in the night. Joseph's dreams carried him into his destiny. Daniel saw visions no one else could explain. Even the safety of Christ's birth was guarded by a dream that came at just the right time. My dear friend, heaven has always loved to speak in the stillness of sleep, and that hasn't changed. The reason tonight matters so much is because your spirit has been craving clarity. You've been asking questions that no voice around you could answer, and God, in His love, is about to bypass the noise and meet you in the stillness. He knows your heart will listen differently when your body is at rest. You may not remember every detail in the morning. Sometimes the dream itself isn't what matters most. It's the residue it leaves behind, waking with unusual peace, waking with sudden clarity about a decision, waking lighter than you went to bed. These are all signs that God visited you, whether your memory holds the picture or not. And let me reassure you of this. Not every dream is meant to be solved like a puzzle. Some are not instructions but encounters. Some are not warnings but embraces. Some are simply heaven reminding you that you are not as alone as you feared. My friend, I know there have been nights where you lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if God still sees you, wondering if your prayers reached anywhere beyond your room. But what you may not have noticed is that in those very nights, something unseen was happening. Your tears were being counted. Your heart was being held. And though silence seemed to fill the space, heaven was already moving closer. That is why tonight carries weight, because God has chosen your rest as the setting for reassurance. Not when you're trying to be strong, not when you're performing faith for anyone else, but when you are finally still, finally honest, finally open. That's when He comes. And if you've ever felt that sudden warmth at 3 a.m., if you've ever woken from a dream that felt more real than daylight, if you've ever stirred in your bed and felt peace descend like a hand on your shoulder, you know what I'm talking about. You've already tasted what's possible. Tonight, that possibility becomes an invitation. Don't be surprised if your dreams peel back layers you've been avoiding. Don't be surprised if you're reminded of people, places, or seasons you thought you forgot. Sometimes God revisits the past in your sleep, not to reopen wounds, but to show you how healed you've become. Sometimes He brings the faces of those who hurt you, so that you can see you're no longer tied to their grip. Sometimes He pulls old hopes back into view, so you'll remember they're not dead, just waiting. And here's what I need you to know. Nothing about your doubts, your questions, or even the heaviness of your day can keep God from drawing near. He isn't waiting for you to be perfect before He shows up. When He comes, it's because He loves you, because He knows you need rest that goes deeper than your body, rest that reaches your spirit. So when you lay down tonight, lay down differently. Instead of collapsing into sleep, enter it like a sanctuary. Whisper gratitude, even if it's small. Release the weight of the day. Tell your spirit it is safe to listen. And then trust that what happens next isn't random, it's orchestrated. And tomorrow, when you wake, pay attention. Notice how your body feels, how your heart feels, how your mind feels. Maybe you'll wake lighter. Maybe you'll wake with an idea. Maybe you'll wake with words that weren't in you yesterday. Whatever it is, trust it. Trust that it's not just sleep, not just coincidence, but heaven making itself known. Because the same God who speaks through fire and thunder, who paints the skies with galaxies, also speaks in the quiet of your dreams. He is not limited to pulpits or preachers or pages of books. He has always loved meeting his children in the stillest places. So, as you step into the night, let your heart rest. You don't need to strive to earn this. You don't need to force anything to happen. Simply allow yourself to be loved, to be visited, to be held. And when you rise, know this with certainty. You are not alone. Heaven was closer than your very breath. When a word like this lands, your spirit wants to stay in the presence of it. That's why I made Simplified Serenity, a channel with music I've created for prayer, meditation, and deep rest. The link's in the description. I'd love to see you there.